Right, it's time for business, and Daryl Kwa is here with the business usual. Daryl.
Nice suit. Did you buy in dollars?
No, I didn't.
You did it. Well, there's a reason why I'm asking him that. The Bank of Ghana has commenced a pilot operation to enforce foreign exchange regulations after it realized that some companies have failed to comply with the central bank's rules. On the first day of the operation, many businesses and forex bureaus within the airport business enclave that failed to comply were warned to desist from the practice or face the full rigors of the law. Ebenezer Sabute was with the team and has filed this report.
The team of officials from the other financial institutions supervision department of the Bank of Ghana was led by head of the Forex Bureau's examination officer, Ajakunedu Toto. It began from some Forex bureaus at the Airport Business Center to ascertain the compliance level of these firms on the law, which includes demanding for national ID from clients before transacting businesses and issuing receipts after transaction, among others. The team also checked some hotels which were charging in cedis but advertised in foreign currency. Head of operations, Ajakunedu, shares with Joy Business the motive of the exercise.
We classified the prohibition of pricing, advertising and receipt or payment for goods and services in foreign currency in Ghana. So it cuts across a lot of industry, automobile, the tourist and the tourism industry, the real estate and many more. And we are saying to the general public, in Ghana, we spend cedis. We are proud of our cedis and we want everybody to think in cedi and do pricing and payment of goods and services in cedis.
She also explained some of the punitive measures that will be meted out to miscreants.
Our directives comes with a punishment, or should I say a sanction, said that if you flout this, said violations are punishable by summary conviction, a fine of up to 700 penalty units, or imprisonment, a term where you'll be imprisoned, or both. You'll be imprisoned, 700 penalty, and each penalty unit attracts like 12 cedis. So you have to multiply it and see the rippling effect. So we are not interested in penalizing people. We want them to be compliant and then they can work in harmony and the regulator will be happy.
The next action by the Bank of Ghana will be a national campaign which will involve all stakeholders. The aim is to understand the need to transact businesses using the local currency. Ibn Sabute's report for Joy Business.
Now, the Monetary Policy Committee of the Bank of Ghana today began its regular review meetings to review the current state of the economy. Now, the meeting, which is crucial after the banking sector cleanup, will see the committee take decisions that would influence cost of credit at the time that there is divided opinion as to whether the policy rate should be reduced or remain unchanged. George Affe has more in the following report.
We understand the city's depreciation and containing inflation rate are some of the issues that will dominate the meetings. The committee, which is chaired by the Governor of the Bank of Ghana, Dr. Ernest Alderson, would also look at how these various developments in the economy would influence inflation rate and the required policy measures that should be implemented to contain the situation. Some of the issues that the committee will be closely monitoring are the recent fuel price increases, revised taxes outlined in the supplementary budget, transport fares, as well as how the pickup in the global oil prices could all impact on the local economy as well as the inflation rate. At its last meeting, the Bank of Ghana kept its policy rate at 16%, which is the rate at which it lends to commercial banks in the country. Economist Professor Eric Osei-Sibi tells Joy Business it might be prudent for the Bank of Ghana to hold the rate at 16%.
The key to ensuring that we have interest rate falling to ensure that it provides now resources for the private sector to invest will be to stabilizing the cedi, because the cedi presents one of the biggest threats to inflationary pressures in all of that. And so for me, to be able to anchor this expectation is ensuring stability in the currency.
The committee is expected to announce its decision this Friday at a meeting with journalists as to whether it is going to hold the policy rate at 16% or bring it down marginally, and how that could impact on the cost of credit in the country. Many would also be looking forward to the debt stock, which was put at 200 billion Ghana cedis ended May this year. And what about government's expenditure outlook as well as revenue?
So on Friday, would the MPC decide to cut the rate, maintain it, or increase it? Economists with Data Bank Courage Buti shares his thoughts.
No Bank of Ghana is inflation targeting central bank. Their policy choices over the year has been to anchor inflation within the target band of 8 plus or minus 2%. We have seen that for periods where there are substantial threats to that inflation outlook or things that could potentially tilt it outside the target band, they have chosen the policy actions or the policy option that actually helps to forestall such occurrence. Over this period we're talking about, I think this year so far, inflation has been a bit volatile, moving up, down to, I think, 9.1 and now back to 9.4. If you look at happenings recently with petroleum prices, with recent tax reforms or the tax adjustments that we saw at the mid-year review, where petroleum prices are supposed to go up marginally because of the additions to the recovery levy, and you see the revisions to the communication services tax. All of these are fed goods in the non-food basket, and then largely our inflation so far has been driven largely by the non-food basket. Food inflation consistently has been coming down, but non-food is the pressure zone now. That tells you inflation in Ghana is more of a monetary phenomenon now than it was in the past. And so given these dynamics, it's likely that there is a significant threat to the inflation outlook going forward, which may knock it upward towards the upper band of the medium-term target band. And that is not good for the goal of monetary policy this year. And so I think with these threats developing to petroleum prices, we've seen recently there have been increases at the pumps, and then we've seen that the world oil market is also kind of prices are going up a bit due to the disruptions we're seeing from Saudi Arabia with regard to supply and all of that. So these dynamics will actually affect petroleum prices. And then if petroleum prices up, we know it passed through to a lot of other sectors of the economy are kind of real. Another thing may be the currency. Subtly, the cedi is depreciating against most of the major currencies. We are around 10% depreciation so far this year, which is the highest, I think, in the 3-year or so tenure of this current government. And then the pass-through of currency depreciation to inflation was also a real possibility.
Well, so the Economist Intelligence Unit does not anticipate a policy rate cut. We've got details of that and other headlines in our summaries.
The Economist Intelligence Unit doubts there will be any room for the Bank of Ghana to cut its policy rate as inflation is further expected to inch up in the coming months. EIE says inflation will remain high due to factors such as depreciation of the cedi, slow pace of fiscal consolidation, and growth in private consumption, and this will affect policy rate decisions for the rest of the year. The Business and Financial Times reports cocoa farmers have commended the Ghana Cocoa Board for its revised modus operandi and the supply of critical inputs such as fertilizer to farmers, especially those in the remote communities. Currently, the Cocoa Board directly supplies inputs to farmers through registered cooperatives. According to the farmers, the newly adopted system distribution is by far better than the previous practice where they were subjected to extortion by Goro boys in the supply chain, including political actors. Vodafone Ghana says it started charging its customers the revised communication service tax CST from this month. Finance Minister Kenneth Ofori-Atta in the supplementary budget announced an increase in the communication service tax from 6 to 9%. According to him, the increase is to help develop the foundation for a viable technology ecosystem in the country.
More business news in the next hour. We are taking a short break.